Welcome to Make Believe, the podcast where creative entrepreneurs learn how to stop waiting for permission and start building the career they actually believe is possible. I'm your host, Calvin Nowell, and this is episode 1 of our artist series. All you need to do is make believe. All you need to do is make believe. When you can't find your way, all you need to do is make believe. In a world of ups and downs, in the shadow is where you down. Can't afford to keep wasting time. All you need to do is make believe. If you haven't listened to the intro episode yet, go back and start there. I share my full story and why this podcast even exists. But if you're jumping in here, welcome. You are in the right place. Today, we are talking about something that has guided everything I've built over the last 25 years. We're talking about why strategy beats waiting for permission every single time. So here's my story. I went to the University of Cincinnati over 25 years ago, probably a little more, to study marketing and management. I didn't even know I could sing until I was already in college. But once I started, doors began to open and I had a choice to make. Y'all, it was like when I went to college, my parents didn't even know that I could sing. And my sister, everybody didn't know because I just didn't sing in front of people. But when they found out that I could sing, it was like I got this gift at 18, 19 years old. And everybody was just like, oh my gosh, we're horrible parents because we didn't know Calvin could sing. And so doors started to open as I started to do this music. I went from college to doing this professionally. I was singing background vocals in a play in Pittsburgh. Then I finally moved to Nashville. And then my first year moving to Nashville, I got to sing with Michael W. Smith and record with him and travel with him during my first year. So doors just started opening. And I was at a point where I could chase a record deal. My voice was good enough, but I chose a different path. I chose to use both my gifts, the marketing brain and the singing voice, to build something independently. And that was a decision that changed everything. Most artists, they abandon their business side. They think, my talent is enough, but I believe your talent without strategy is just potential. It doesn't become your career until you apply intentionality to it. Now, my real launch pad came when I lost over 250 pounds naturally, and instead of keeping that journey private, I leveraged it. Now, we can talk about this a little bit later. I don't want to jump all into my health stories, but I'm going to talk about my health. And I don't know if you noticed, I am on the journey, so there's that on that. But back then, my first time, I used my personal story to create space for my music to exist. So my debut album was called Start Somewhere. And that title came from just a simple prayer. It was God telling me, Calvin, just start somewhere, just begin. And I tied that actually to my transformation story so that the people saw the before and afters, and what they really heard was permission to start their own journey. And guess what, y'all? It worked. But here's what made it really work. I got intentional about perception. I hired top photographers in Nashville. I worked with professional graphic designers. My album covers looked expensive. I basically said to myself, I want this to look like you can't tell the difference if Sony released it or if Capitol released it. But I had this thing in my head that, if I make it look great, it will look like it came from a major label. I wanted that perception. And so, like I always say, perception determines reception. So how people perceive you actually determines how they receive what you do. And when people saw that level of visual excellence, they came to my music already believing I was professional. Then when they listened, the music confirmed it. I got an example. I remember recording my first album, and I was running out of money. I didn't have enough money to finish the production at the high level that I wanted to. And I was just like, man, I can really only afford an acoustic version. And it was a song called Open My Heart, and it was acoustic. And I said, oh, I'm going to do it acoustic. But I got enough to pay for an acoustic production. But I think I'm going to use the rest of this money and work on the branding side so that when people saw the branding, they just thought, oh, he meant to do this that way. He meant to strip it down. I didn't want it to sound like, oh, he ain't got no money. That's why this track ain't really built out. It was really, I spent it on the marketing side. And that's what happened. So learn from my experience because you can build a perception by being strategic and having the right team around you. So I was building momentum with my own career, but y'all, I was doing it all alone. Eventually, the overwhelmingness, it got to me. So I just had to step back, and I went into artist management for probably about 8 years. And you know what? Those 8 years taught me everything about the music business from the inside out. I was able to take artists from nothing and make them headliners. I built their brands. I helped create opportunities for them. But I learned a painful lesson. Artists would come to me saying, I love how you believe in people. And then they leave me for someone with a bigger name. And that really bothered me. But I learned through all of this that the most valuable people in your corner are not the most famous ones. They're the ones who actually believe in you. And you know what's crazy? Some of those artists still reach back out to me and say, you know what, I made a mistake 10 years ago. You were really our champion. And I just want to tell you, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be where we are. And I appreciate that because I don't burn bridge with the people or the former clients that I have. But they always come back around and they agree with you like, man, you really believed in us. And what I've discovered now is that most managers, artist managers, they ride the wave of what you've already built. But the people who build the wave with you, those people are priceless. And I've really built a lot around that because I live in Nashville, and I'm just going to keep it 100% honest with you. This town is basically prove it to me first, then we get on board. People in the Christian music industry space, they will ride the wave that you create, but they're not doing artist development anymore. They're not creating the wave for you. I was a person that was like, I need to create the wave for my artists. And that's probably why I hurt so bad when the transition happened of working with them, because I was a manager that was really passionate, but I was new, but I was working 12-hour days just to make things happen for my clients. But, like I said, that's bridge under the water. That's water under the bridge. Eventually, I transitioned into just pure marketing and brand strategy. And about 5 years ago, I started my agency, Come On Creative, and I started working with CeCe Winans. Yes, the legend. She's with over 40 years in gospel and Christian music. And one of the first things that we did with her was we created the Count on Me Challenge, and it was during COVID. I had CeCe take her phone. She sang the chorus of Count on Me, encouraged people to help their neighbors. Y'all, it went viral. Millions of people watching. Her following grew from around 300,000 followers to when we finished 5 years later to about 2 million. And even from during that time, my agency and myself, we directed her music videos. We designed her website. We produced a talk show called Generations for 3 years. And that just experience confirmed you don't build a brand by chasing trends. You build it by understanding who you are. And when you connect legacy to current moments and deliver excellence consistently, you can really build a career that way. And that was some of the things that I learned working with her. And it really, really helped because I was helping her with social media, but guys, I was studying her audience. I knew what they wanted from CeCe. And those was teaching me lessons about, you know what? You can really do this if you learn social media and learn how to study your audience. And so for me, social media has exploded and everybody's making music. Your excellence has to be at another level just to even stand out. But here's what people misunderstand. Excellence today is about deeply understanding your audience and giving them what they actually need. All right, let's look at Forrest Frank for an example. I love his music. I think that he's very talented. He stays true to his relationship with God. He makes this kind of pop worship feel it sonically innovative. It's like amazing and it's very cultural relevant. And what I like about it is he studies his audience. And in days within announcing a tour, it sells out. That's crazy to me. Like he can do a tour and it sells out. And I'm just like, how does he do that? Like, I feel like there's a lot of intentionality in what he's doing. You know, he knows how to create the music. He engages with his audience. He makes the song. He lets them speak into it. People love to root for him. When he does his concerts, he has all generations available from young kids to people my age and older. And it's crazy because he's capturing all people. But I think it's because he's really good at stewarding his audience and knows what his audience want. And that's what I wanted to say to you is that I'm learning that social media isn't social media anymore. Even the marketing professionals that I look up to, they call it interest media. The algorithm shows you what people are already interested in. And when I leaned into serving people's daily devotional practice, y'all, my YouTube watch time skyrocketed. The algorithm elevated my content, not because of who I knew, but because I was retaining people's attention. You know, when I started my music, you know, I just knew that I needed to release my music. I didn't think there's a whole backstory into even why I got to that point, you know, but I decided to say, you know what, I'm just going to release music and we'll just see what happens. But YouTube started to reward me for my watch time, you know, because I was keeping people's attention for 7 to 8 minutes when most people, they only watch 60 to 90 seconds of a video. So I'm learning it real time through my own career that you need to study your audience. People would stop me in airports, restaurants, hotels. Oh my gosh, are you Calvin Nowell? I'm like, yeah. And they immediately show me their phone. Oh, I listen to you every morning. Look, this is my playlist. This is my playlist. And you know, every time I would do that, just in my own personal prayer moments, I feel like God would kept telling me, it's YouTube, you know, and it made me tap into studying my audience. And that's when I realized that, oh, people are watching me for their personal devotions. You know, they're going to YouTube searching, I need worship, I need to draw closer to God. And then here comes my videos, 10 minutes long, taking you through this worship experience, and it's connecting with people. And so most people think authenticity means abandoning all strategy. That's not authenticity. That's inconsistency with the label on it. Real authenticity, y'all, is knowing who you are. So you can clearly express that intentionality. Being raw in the right moments and polished in others, that blend, let's just be real. Be strategic. Be excellent. All three at the same time. Yes, you can do all three. I got to say this, you know, I look at my path and people say, well, Calvin, I don't sing as good as you. Okay, well, you don't have to sing at the level, but there's people that sing better than me. And I always tell people this, and I want you to hear me. If you want to be good at what you do, I always tell young people, a seventh grader may be good in basketball, but when they play with 12th graders, the 12th graders beat the seventh grader every single time. But when the seventh grader becomes a 12th grader, his game is at a whole new level. Like when you're seventh grade and you're playing with 12th graders every day, and by the time you get in 12th grade, you're gonna be a beast. And I always tell people, who are your 12th graders? You got to surround yourself around people that are better than you. And a lot of people don't know this about me. Like, I started singing late in life, but I always surround myself with people that are better than me. Some people ask me, like, Calvin, you always promote these amazing singers because they're great. And I surround myself around people that are better than me, and I learn from their nuances. I learn how to be excellent. So when I'm taking my broken heart or the pains of things that I'm doing, or I'm singing videos like I mean it. You know, people don't know this, but one of my favorite people that taught me how to sing, I asked her one day, I said, Dion, how do you do this thing when you sing like that? It just gets all over me. And she said, I just concentrate. And I just thought, you know what? I interpreted it as you need to sing like you mean it. So from the beginning, I just started singing like I mean it. And that was me thinking about, wow, I just need to be authentic in what I do. And then when I started to put some strategy with my authenticity, doors started to open. And here's what I love, and this is what I want you to know, and I want to leave you with this. You don't get what you want in life just because you want it. You get what you believe is possible. Let me say that one more time. You don't get what you want in life just because you want it. You get what you believe is possible. And more than that, y'all, you have to make your belief happen. It's not passive. It requires work. It requires strategy. And it requires a commitment to excellence. You got it? So don't overthink this. This is something that you have to do. I'm Calvin Nowell. This is Make Believe. And y'all, let's make it happen.